5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live.
All right. I can start now, Debbie?
Yes.
Perfect. Hi, I'm Erica, and I'm so excited and honored to be here. I'm part of the U.S. Department of State English Language Specialist Program. And before we begin, just a little about me. Before I was a specialist here virtually in Honduras, I was a U.S. Department of State fellow in Sri Lanka, which was also a wonderful experience. So here's me doing some teacher training over in Sri Lanka. And I'm currently living in Portugal, so it's late at night here, but I definitely feel awake, and I'm originally from Chicago. And I'm really happy to be here virtually with you all. So that being said, I'll just get into it. Here is a consent to photograph and also the audio. So I'll let you take a look at that. Thank you. And just a housekeeping note before we begin, if you're in the live Zoom session with me, it's going to be very interactive and hopefully a lot of fun, like a workshop style presentation. So your participation is very welcomed and encouraged. And if you're watching the live broadcasted version, during breakout rooms where the Zoom participants will be doing some hands-on active engagement activities with me, I can walk you through those activities so you won't feel like you're missing anything, which is great. All right, so with that in mind, the goals of my session today will be to reflect upon experiences with active participation and student-centered learning that you may previously have had. Also to explore the benefits of active participation and student-centered learning. And finally, to gain some strategies to engage students in active participation and student-centered learning through various remote tools such as Zoom, Google Slide virtual classrooms, and WhatsApp. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and start with some active engagement from my live Zoom participants. So go ahead and think about this statement. Students often actively participate in my remote classroom. So under the participants button in Zoom, you'll find a yes, no. Go ahead and please click either yes or no for this statement here. Students often actively participate in my remote classroom. So I'm going to go ahead and look at your responses. So I'm going to go ahead and click yes. I would love to see some of your yes, no responses. I'll give you a minute to do that. Let me know if you guys are having any trouble finding that yes, no feature. It's right under the participants button. Oh, I see some responses coming in. Great, and if you'd like to, feel free to go into the chat box and share some examples, if your answer is yes to that, of how you have engaged your students in active participation. I would love to see some of your responses in that chat box. Great, I see some yes, I see some no, which is great too, because there's lots to learn today, that means, which is also really exciting. With those yes responses, if you want to go ahead and type some examples, that would be really cool. I'll give you another couple of minutes to go ahead and type some examples of how you have used active participation in your classrooms. I see lots of great yes responses, some no's. Okay, maybe I'll come back to that and see if anyone types in some examples. but thanks for doing that. So the yes/no feature in Zoom that you just engaged with is actually a really great example of active participation. So this is all about eliciting responses from students to give them opportunities to critically think, connect learning to prior knowledge, reflect upon understanding. Active participation can increase student talk time and also metacognition. So the ability to think about the process of thinking and learning. So all of this active participation happens in a student-centered learning community. So in a student-centered learning community, the teacher is not the sole source of knowledge. There is a co-construction of knowledge, or we could say a partnership in a student-centered or otherwise called a learner-centered learning community or student community. So in this type of community, students are not passively taking in knowledge, but they're actively engaging with their teacher and with each other. And assessment is performance and task-based in nature. We're thinking about if students can critically think, can they complete authentic tasks in this type of student-centered environment? So in this type of classroom, students are doing, they're thinking, they're actively learning, they're collaborating with each other, they're setting their own learning goals, and they're reflecting on the learning process. So what are the benefits of active participation and a student-centered classroom community? For example, this type of environment empowers students to think about themselves as learners. The motivational focus is a lot more intrinsic in nature as opposed to extrinsic. So it's on knowledge and skills and not just about a test or a grade, for example. This type of learning environment encourages students to be producers of knowledge, and students are prepared for real world challenges that are very authentic in their problem solving nature. There's also a lot of learner autonomy, a lot of ownership and empowerment in the learning process. There's a lot of collaborative focus and soft skill focus. So on cooperation and respect for one another as they're working together, often in group work. Creativity is encouraged, and this kind of environment creates a rich learning community both inside the classroom and also outside the classroom. So it really produces lifelong learners. So how can we encourage active participation in a student-centered classroom remotely? So that really adds this extra challenge that we have to tackle as teachers. So there's lots of exciting strategies that we can use. I'm going to also go ahead and look in the chat and see if some people have added to the chat. I'm going to just pop over there for a minute. Oh, awesome. Alma said, we often speak of life events to motivate them. I use media. Thank you so much, Alma, for that input. That's really great. So what a powerful strategy. Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the share for a moment and restart the share with a really cool example, which is a Google Slide Bitmoji virtual classroom. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that classroom. Bear with me for just a moment. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the link to a Google Slide Bitmoji classroom into the chat box right now. Okay, so you will see that link in the chat box. I am now going to put you in breakout rooms. And what I would like you to do in the breakout rooms is to go ahead and click that link that you see in the chat box, and it will take you to that virtual Bitmoji classroom. Once you're in that classroom, you'll find that you can go through steps. You'll see them, there's a big red button, there'll be steps 1, 2, 3, and 4. Go through the steps one at a time. Each step will have a play button that you can click, and it'll be a pre-recorded audio and video of me, and it will give you instructions for how to talk to each other and do some group work in that breakout room. So I am going to go ahead and put you into breakout rooms right now.
Agarrar la comida que te va a caer.
David, would it be okay to give me the ability to use breakout rooms? I don't see that as one of my options on the bottom currently.
Yeah.
Let's see. Thanks for being patient with me, everyone. We're just trying to enable my ability to put you in breakout rooms. Just one moment, please. Okay, so I'm not sure if we have the ability to use breakout rooms currently. I don't see that enabled, but that is no problem because I can just go ahead and screen share it with all of you at once. So the broadcasted people will also just be having the same experience as the Zoom people for the time being, which is great. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pull up that Bitmoji virtual classroom for you and share the screen. Share screen. Okay, perfect. All right, so welcome to my Bitmoji virtual classroom. So what you would have done in breakout rooms, but we'll just do together now, is click, and you can feel free to do this asynchronously on your own as well, but you'll go ahead and click through 1 through 4. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that to demonstrate. I'm gonna start right here on 1. Hi, welcome to your breakout room. In your breakout room, discuss how breakout rooms such as these can encourage active participation in a student-centered classroom context. All right, so that was step 1. So you can all think that together. Imagine that you're in individual rooms right now. So those breakout rooms where small groups are talking together. Imagine if you clicked on this link and you clicked on this first one. And so now you would be thinking about how smaller rooms where you're broken up into smaller groups can really encourage active participation. And then number 2. Step 2, in the main group chat, have a recorder from your group write down some of the ideas you would come up with for how you can use breakout rooms to encourage active participation in a student-centered classroom environment. All right, so we'll have to do a little imagining, but imagine if you were looking at this in a smaller room with, say, 4 other participants, how discussing amongst yourselves could really encourage an active participation type environment. Step 3, we'll move on to. If you have some extra time, click around on the virtual classroom to explore the space. Can you find any other types of links to click and explore? What types of links are they? How can they be used to support active participation in a student-centered classroom? right, so we'll go ahead and click around together on some of the other parts of our virtual classroom. For example, let's click on this, student-centered learning. I'm just going to mute the advertisement.
To teaching and education, student-centered learning. And structural approach the focus on the students instead of the teacher.
Okay, so we can see that when we click here, it takes us to a reference video to kind of solidify understanding and clarify understanding on the topic. All right, perfect. So I'm going to stop the screen share and return back to my PowerPoint now. All right, so we are back to the PowerPoint. All right, awesome. So now that you saw a virtual classroom, and I know you weren't actually in the breakout room, unfortunately, but you can imagine if you were in that smaller room, clicking around and exploring this space, how could using a virtual classroom like this Bitmoji virtual classroom and breakout rooms support active participation and a student-centered classroom environment? So go ahead and type in some ideas in the chat and we can look at them together. Awesome. This is really great for teamwork. Thank you so much, Nancy. Great ideas. So really encouraging some of those soft skills in addition to academics. Really great for pair work. Exactly. Awesome ideas. Really increasing student time. Absolutely. Any other ideas? What about those clickable resources? So not only the main exercise, 1, 2, 3, 4, but what about small conversations? Great, I see some awesome ideas in chat. Students will feel more comfortable. That's really great. We really lower that affective filter. We know when students feel more comfortable and confident, they're so much more able to learn and take in knowledge. So that's a really great point. Some people are asking about if they have some restrictions, like if they don't have ability to have this Google Classroom. That's a really great question, Julio. I'm glad you asked it. I actually have a part of the presentation a little later, so hang in there, that can discuss if we don't have some of these tools, some other strategies to maintain active participation, even without some of these tools. So hang in there, Julio. We'll definitely get to that. Giving more confidence. Awesome. These are some really great ideas. Thank you so much for the great ideas and input. So yeah, so if you do use these small breakout rooms, a really cool strategy could be to assign roles. So some examples of roles can be a recorder, a facilitator who kind of drives and organizes the group as they go through an exercise, a presenter who reports back to the main Zoom chat, maybe an English checker. So when you assign group roles, it really helps students have a focus. It really gives them a point to engage around, especially those learners who tend to fall back and maybe get lost in a group setting. If you give them all roles, they can really be encouraged to actively participate and focus around that role. Think pair shares are really cool. So I saw someone say teamwork. A really cool extension of teamwork is you can have them think about a certain topic by themselves. You can pair them up in a breakout room to share with each other and maybe then report back to the rest of the group. They can even report back not their own input, but their partner's input. And sometimes that makes things a little bit less intimidating. You can do a lot of really great critical thinking activities, such as inferential activities or debate activities. We'll also come back to some of those ideas a bit later. You can do some connect to text activities in small group rooms. And also these Bitmoji virtual classrooms are so fun. You can personalize them with your little personal emoji, and they're really great for asynchronous work as well as synchronous because students can access them. All they need is that link to share. They don't need Google. They don't need a Google slide at all. Only you do to create one, and then they can go off and just engage with it on their own, which is really cool. Also, those clickable resources, like the one that I showed you with the YouTube that referred to student-centered learning, those are really great to differentiate your instruction. So you can give certain students certain tasks so they can all get to the same goal, but maybe in different ways. Certain students can have different parts of the virtual classroom to engage with. So you can really attend to different students' needs, which is really exciting. Students can seek clarification if you have links like that, so they can check understanding not only with you, but with some outside source, such as a YouTube. Extension activities. I didn't get a chance to show you, but I had like a little read aloud under a Cat in the Hat stuffed animal. So if students finish early or something like that, there's just so many cool options that you can, so much creativity you can take in these virtual spaces. So I use the free app or website Bitmoji to make my character, and that was a lot of fun. That's totally free and really easy to use, and it just adds this really personal element to your classroom. It bridges that screen gap, so the students can really feel like they're engaging with you, even if it's just your Bitmoji character. Also, you noticed when I clicked on those links, 1, 2, 3, 4, that was a pre-downloaded recording of me. I use Screencastify. Screencastify is amazing. It's totally free for up to 5 minutes, but you have unlimited recordings of audio and video. So you saw how cool it was where you just click on the link and it's a pre-recorded video of me. So again, that's so cool for asynchronous learning and to really connect to their teacher, but in a remote way, especially if maybe they can't connect in that moment with internet issues, they can connect later and go ahead and still see your face and connect to you, and you can still give them some really great instruction that way. So now I'm going to go ahead and stop the share and grab a Bitmoji classroom example, because I would love to walk you through a little bit of an intro, some steps in how to make your own, because it's so easy and it's so fun. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that up for you. Okay, I have it ready, so I'm going to start the share again. Okay, awesome. All right, so I think you should be on my Google slide with me. All right, so I am going to use this as a little example and show you how we can do this. So again, this is totally free. This is coming from Google Slides, and I'll just give you a super quick tutorial just so you can see how creative these are and how easy they are to start. So we're kind of going for this as an example. So we'll start with a blank page. I'm going to go ahead and grab this and delete to start with a nice blank slate. I'm going to insert a background by choosing an image directly from the web, Google image search. So I'll say floor and wall background. Okay, I'll pick this one. And just to show you some customizable things, let's say I don't like this background. Maybe I don't prefer it. It's a bit dark. All it is a shape. So I'm going to go ahead and insert that shape, which is a rectangle, and fill it in with the color to brighten up that background. So I'm going to do fill color and just make it a bit brighter. So now I'm going to make some personal touches to my classroom. So I'm going to say insert an image from the web, and you can search here. When you insert an image, say transparent first, because then it lays the image over your virtual classroom really nicely. So that's important to say transparent. I'm gonna go ahead and pick this kind of cartoony image because my Bitmoji character is cartoony. So it's kind of all in the same feeling. Okay, and now, as I said, Bitmoji is a website application. So I would normally get my character and whatever kind of body movement I want her to have off of there, but just to save time, I'm just going to paste her. Oops, didn't get her. All right, there she is. Okay, now I'm just gonna show you some fancier things that you can do with this. So I'm going to make my room more beautiful, I'm going to put in a window really quickly. So again, I'm still searching image directly from the web. And now, of course, I need something beautiful in my window. So I'll find a nature scene. It would be very nice to have this outside of my window. So I'm going to size it to the shape of my window. And now I need the window to overlay first. So I'm going to, oops. So I'm going to double click, order, bring backward. So now it's nicely in the window, which is really cool. Now I'm going to get a whiteboard to put my exercise on. I'll choose this one. Okay, so let's say I don't prefer this to the right part. So I can double click, press crop image, and then just pull this in, and then it's customized to the part that I prefer. And now this is an exercise. We're going to pretend it's an inference exercise. So I am going to write a text box, insert a text box, and put make an inference. And then I can go ahead and customize my text color and my font, etc. And you'll teach your students how to click on this interactive space, but now we need to make it interactive. So it's so easy. I went ahead and already made a Screencastify, like I told you about before with my audio and video pre-recorded. I made one about inferences. So normally I would just grab that off the website, but I just have it copied and ready to go. So I'll show you how to insert it. So you click on what you want to make interactive. I'm going to click on the whiteboard, and you say insert a link. I'm going to paste in my Screencastify, there it is, and say apply. So now when you present this, you click on the exercise, and it will take you right to their exercise. So here is my voice.
Let's make inferences or logical guesses based off the picture and what you already know. In your breakout rooms, discuss how you infer the cat is feeling. How do you infer the dog is feeling? Why are they feeling the way they do?
So there you go. That's just a little tutorial on how you can get started with this. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop the screen share for a moment and grab a resource link for you all. Okay, so this link that I'm sending you here, you don't have to click on it now, but I'll show you what it is when I screen share my PowerPoint again. All right, so what that link is it's a link to this, which is a virtual classroom that I have for you that will walk you through all the steps that we just talked about together. So there's me again in the virtual classroom, and this is a reference link for you. It'll show you all those things again, like setting a scene, adding your Bitmoji character, tips for making sure that as you add the interior, everything is transparent and lays on nicely, making your images clickable and interactive so you can customize your exercises for your students asynchronously. Also, it's pretty cool. It takes Bitmoji a step further than I showed you, where you can actually animate the face and body. So you have that link in that chat for you there as a resource. All right, so now we are going to do another interactive activity. So we're going to use the whiteboard feature of Zoom, and I want you to take a look at this statement here. It is possible to use WhatsApp. So I think it was Julio, I think was expressing some really valid concern about what if I don't have Zoom or all of these applications? How can I use an active participation or student-centered type of environment with some real constraints? So I'm really excited to talk about WhatsApp. I heard from a coordinator of the conference that WhatsApp is a huge reality for what a lot of teachers are working with. So I'm excited to think together and strategize about WhatsApp as it relates to active participation and student-centered learning. So go ahead and take a look at this statement. I'm going to stop the share and just copy that statement for you. Give me 1 second. Okay, I'm going to start a whiteboard share. Okay, so I think you can all see my whiteboard. So I'm going to paste that sentence in again. And over here, I'm going to write agree. So I'm using the whiteboard feature on Zoom right now. And over here, I'm going to write disagree. So go ahead, what you can do is click on view, options, annotate, and you can go ahead and put, for example, a check or an X or a tick mark in how you feel about this statement. So go ahead and do that. Go ahead and interact with this whiteboard. I'll give you a minute to do so. Ah, thank you, Andrea. Andrea agrees. Excellent. It'd be great to see some other input too. I'll give you a couple moments more. Ah, nice. We have some more input. Everybody agrees so far. So cool. Awesome. Lots of fun ways that we're engaging with the whiteboard. Lots of, I see stars and arrows. Cool. So it seems like everybody agrees that it is possible to use WhatsApp in an active participation, student-centered manner. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to stop the share and go back to my PowerPoint now. All right, so welcome back to the PowerPoint. So now in the chat, especially if you clicked agree, can you please share some ideas that you have or some great experiences that you have had with using WhatsApp to encourage active participation? So I'm going to go over to the chat and see what we have to say. Ooh, describe a picture. Thank you, Nancy. Nice. Any other ideas for how we can use WhatsApp with active participation in a student-centered environment. We can do quizzes. Thank you, Denny. Voice notes. Margarita said brainstorming. Roxana said recording. Leah said recording as well. Picture painting, that's really cool. Ana Joselina, that's a really creative one. Recording, Susane. Polanco, recording. Sharing videos or worksheet activities from Elena. Great ideas. Wow, excellent ideas. It's so cool that you're already thinking so creatively, even with WhatsApp, which can feel sometimes like a big screen gap between you and your students. It's so cool that you're already thinking of these really great active participatory ways to connect with your students. Alma said video watching, using lots of media. So cool. Thank you for your input, everyone. So, all right, so some ideas I have are really thinking about connecting to our learners' interests. So like I mentioned, we have this screen gap with them, and we really want to bridge it so we can feel connected to them and help them feel connected and engaged and related to. So a really cool way could be a photo scavenger hunt, for example. So bringing in their home, bringing in personal things so they really feel connected and present, even if it's remote. So a cool example could be, let's say you're having a lesson on useful items, and maybe they could take pictures around their house of what is useful to them, for example. You can still certainly do, just like breakout rooms in Zoom, you can do think, pair, shares. So again, you can put students into pair rooms in WhatsApp, have them think about a scenario, for example, pair together, and again, share ideas that they came up with together, or share their partner's ideas. You can still certainly assign those group those group roles. Those are so powerful. Just like we talked about before, maybe assigning a recorder, a facilitator, a presenter, an English checker, to really give them a focus in those groups and really rally them around actively participating and having a purpose in a WhatsApp group. Still in WhatsApp, we can do game-based learning. Some cool examples are guess the words. So maybe we have a category like at the zoo, and they can guess some words in the category, or the rivers, guess the category where they're given words, and something to really empower learners and make it even more student-centered and authentic and motivating is maybe they can even come up and generate their own categories and words instead of you, the teacher, being the sole producer of that. You can do like a 20 questions. I'm thinking of an object, and again, students can come up with the object in mind, and other students can ask questions about that object. Maybe they can take funny pictures of expressions and guess each other's feelings from the photos, or maybe with a picture, they can justify what they believe doesn't belong and why. So many fun games we can do over WhatsApp. And there's so many benefits to this, like increasing learner motivation, lowering anxiety. We talked about that affective filter. Learners can learn best when they're feeling confident and comfortable. So games are such a powerful way to do so. Games integrate various language skills. They create a meaningful context for language. They encourage creativity and authentic use of language. They allow students to activate their prior knowledge and connect to other learners and connect learning to what they already know, which is very empowering. And they can take an active and student-centered role in their learning. Also, still on WhatsApp, we can certainly do project-based learning, or PBL. So in PBL, learners are given authentic tasks, problems to solve, or products to develop. So this is a powerful student-centered pedagogical strategy. So for example, instead of asking them in a WhatsApp chat to write a paragraph about their favorite park, instead they can, oh, I'm sorry? Oh, I think I heard some feedback. Instead, they can develop an advertisement to make more people want to visit their park. Or instead of writing a report about a healthy diet, maybe they can make a short film about how to maintain a healthy diet. Or instead of describing a family member, maybe they can record an interview with a family member where they're asking questions. So to give them this authentic, meaningful task is really powerful in active participation, student-centered learning, and this is all so possible even over WhatsApp, which is really cool. And just a note, going backwards to that Zoom whiteboard feature that you all did a really cool job interacting with, the whiteboard feature on Zoom is a really great active participation tool. For example, you can use it for a whiteboard debate, like back in the before times when we were all in classrooms. A great activity for active participation is four corners, where students have a disagree corner, a agree corner, strongly disagree, strongly agree, and they can react to a statement that is made and go to the corner they agree with, like maybe a statement like school uniforms should be mandatory, for example. But we can still have this really robust kind of debate in a Zoom setting where you can go ahead and write on the whiteboard, disagree, agree, strongly, disagree, strongly, agree, and students can tick off where they feel their opinions are aligned, and then they can join breakout rooms and maybe create arguments with the other members of their breakout room, and then go back to that main Zoom chat and have a really engaging debate. So that's a cool use of the whiteboard tool. Another whiteboard tool use could be kind of like a this or that. So you can put something like TV on one side of that whiteboard and music on the other, and students can check which box they feel most excited about, and then it kind of just naturally gets them motivated and excited to talk about why they chose the tick mark that they did. So some cool ideas for whiteboard debates. All right, so just wrapping up, remember that remote teaching is very new, very, very new, and very it can be intimidating for many of us, and it's so cool because even though we're teachers, we're also lifelong learners, and we love to learn too. So it's a really cool opportunity to be doing this together, and I feel really honored to be doing it with you all and learning with you all. And I know we can do this together. And all right, so one of two more active participation requests for you. I welcome any questions, so you can go ahead and I'm going to stop the share. You can go ahead and ask any questions that you like. You can ask them in the chat, or you can go ahead and use the hand raising tool, and you can ask a question live if you like to. So I'll give you a moment to ask any questions. I'll try my best to answer them. Okay, I don't think I see any hands raised. I don't think I see any questions, but if you have any questions, I welcome them for sure. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen one more time. All right, and one more active participation strategy we have here on Zoom are those reactions under Zoom. So go ahead and give us a reaction. So maybe a thumbs up if you're excited about using new strategies to support active participation and student-centered learning in remote settings. You can go ahead and use that reaction tool, or otherwise, I welcome more questions as well. So I'm going to stop the share and take a look at those reactions. So I'm going to go ahead and say thumbs up because I'm excited about active participation in remote settings. I think I'm seeing some reactions coming in. Awesome. Okay, and I'll keep on the lookout for some questions, but I think that pretty much wraps it up. And thank you so much for all of your active engagement. You made it a really meaningful presentation for me and hopefully for you all as well. And thank you so much, David, for being here on the tech end for me. I really appreciate that. And I hope you all have a really wonderful rest of your evening. And I hope I can see you someday in person in the future. Thank you. Sorry, one more thing, if anyone is still here, I have a special request where I would love to take a picture for the English language programs. I'm not sure if anyone's still here or not, but if you are, I would love it if you could turn your cameras on and I could go ahead and take a picture if possible. I would appreciate that. Oh, I see people. Awesome. Yay. Okay. Going to expand us. Oh, so many people. That's so cool. Okay. All right. Let's see. Thank you all so much. Take care. Have a wonderful rest of your evening.